First things first, in the end, Odell chose Hollywood. OBJ heading to Los Angeles to join the Rams. Are they now officially the team to beat? Lamar and the Ravens, boy, did they struggle last night falling to the Dolphins. Did the former MVP lose his shot at winning the award again? And another former MVP rejoins his former squad as Cam returning to Carolina. Hi, everyone. Welcome to First Things First. Jenna Wolfe alongside Nick Wright, Kevin Wilds, and in for Chris Broussard today, we have LaShawn McCoy. LaShawn, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Nick, I got a question for you. Can Carolina Cam, the one that won MVP, be Carolina Cam again?
Well, as long as he's not Carolina Darnold, the Panthers are going to be happy. So I don't know if he can be Carolina Cam, but just don't be Carolina Sam, and the Panthers will be very, very pleased with this transaction.
Fair enough, and very clever, by the way. We'll get to that, but we got to start out west. Same place Odell Beckham Jr. is headed out west. The three-time Pro Bowler taking his talents to Los Angeles. He chose the Rams, it turns out, over what we thought, the Packers, the Chiefs, the Seahawks. And I'm sorry, Kevin Wilds, he chose the Rams over your Patriots. OBJ agreeing to a one-year deal, adding to an already stacked offense. You got Stafford and Woods, you got Cooper Kupp, and a stacked defense. Remember, they just picked up Von Miller. So Von posting his FaceTime with Odell yesterday saying, let's chase this ring. The Rams are all in, it appears. Lots of excitement surrounding this move. But Nick, is this guaranteed to work?
Well, I think it's almost guaranteed to work for Odell. And I'm shocked. I was shocked when the news came out, but then as soon as I thought of it, I was like, why are you shocked? Odell's favorite city in America, aside from maybe his hometown, is Los Angeles. It's where it's where he lives in the offseason. The Rams are all in, all in, all in. Von Miller's one of his, closest friends in the league. It made total sense. The reason I wasn't even including the Rams as a possibility is the same reason I wasn't including the Bucs or the Cowboys. I was like, well, yeah, of course, it could work there, but they have enough wide receivers already. I mean, you had Deshaun Jackson ask for his release from the Rams because he had 15 catches on the year. He wasn't getting the targets. You have Cooper Kupp, who leads the NFL in everything. He's in targets, in yards, in touchdowns. The only person who was getting the volume close to Kupp is Tyreek Hill. Everyone else is at like 70 to 80% of his opportunities. So I didn't think the Rams were a possibility, but I think for what Odell wants, it makes total sense, LaShawn. And because I think what he wants is to play for a good quarterback. Stafford's good, not great. I think he wants to play in the playoffs. The Rams will be in the playoffs. And I think Odell wants to play on the national stage. And if we could just quickly show the Rams schedule, what you're going to see is they're going to live on your television screens even if you don't have Sunday ticket. This week, they play Monday Night Football. Now, he might not play this week. They play Monday Night Football again a few weeks later. And then if you look at Week 12 Green Bay, that's the Fox game of the week. That will be the most watched game all week. Week 15 against Seattle, that is the Fox game of the week. That will be the 4:25 Eastern game of the week. Week 17 against Baltimore, again, the Fox game of the week. So Odell's going to have all the eyeballs on him. He's going to be in the playoffs, and he's going to get at least some targets. So, no, I think it will work. I was surprised by it, but I shouldn't have been, LaShawn.
Yeah, I think it will work. Now, nothing's guaranteed. I will say that. Nothing's guaranteed in the NFL, but I think it'll work for a simple fact that Sean McVay, he's sending a message to the team that he's all the way locked in. All the chips are on the table. I think with Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, them guys, they want to share the load. They always talk about how they're not selfish. They want the next man to do well. I think when Odell signed there, I'm sure Sean McVay had a long conversation like, listen, this is how it's going to be here, right? We're not guaranteeing you the number one receiver. We're not guaranteeing you this. We're not guaranteeing you that. But we can guarantee you that you'll be part of this offense. We will get rolling. I think as an offense together, you talk about Matthew Stafford. He came from Eli Manning, who was a great quarterback in his time. But when Odell had him, he was kind of declining. He was a little older. And then you go to Baker Mayfield. I think, in my opinion, that Baker's a good quarterback, not great. He controls the game. He's a game manager. They run the ball very well. Odell's the type of guy where he needs to be in a dynamic offense, right? Explosive offense. You put him in this mixture, man, with Matthew Stafford and the wide receivers, Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods. This is explosive offense. They run the outside zone. They stretch it. You could take shots. I think that the type of talent level that Matthew Stafford still has and possess, they can go deep, short, mid-range, long range. So it's a perfect fit for him. I think with a good defense, you're going to get the ball, a lot more opportunities. And he can showcase his talent. He can showcase who Odell Beckham really is. And this is the team I think he'd do the best for right now. So I love the decision, and hopefully it works out.
Okay, so listen to this idea. Scheme-wise, I think it works. Emotionally, I think it might not work. So first, let's talk about the scheme. Makes sense on paper, right? The Rams throw the ball about 26 times to wide receivers, right next to the Bills and the Bucks. We know they're an explosive offense. We also know Matthew Stafford can get Odell the ball. When we look at his spray chart, he'll throw it everywhere by zone. There's nowhere that he's really bad, maybe deep down the middle, but he's just a little below average. Here's the thing I don't think anybody is thinking of yet, Nick. I wonder if the Rams realize that maybe in the past 2 weeks, they've become the villains. They're the new villains of the NFL. The Patriots aren't the villains anymore. We're kind of a lovable team with Mac Jones. Kansas City Chiefs, not the villains anymore. You guys have been humbled. Tom Brady, he used to be a villain, now he's beloved. The Rams are going to have a target on their back between the Stafford signing, Von Miller, you got the big defense, you got the new stadium, you got OBJ. And I wonder, when you talk about being on national TV, if that infects the team at all. We know when the Astros cheated, it was like, they were ready to be the villains, they kept on winning. When LeBron went to Miami, he wasn't quite ready to be the villain. Played poorly. He's like, I wasn't my normal self. Poorly's a little bit of a strong word, but you know what I mean. So I wonder if there's going to be an emotional toll on the Rams. They're like, hold on, now we've got a target on our back that everyone is gunning for us. Not only are teams wanting to get over on us, but the fans are going to want to get over us. And I think the national media is going to start to sort of push back against the Rams. You buy that theory?
To be totally honest, Wilds, I don't buy it much at all, and here's why. First of all, your premise, lovable Mac Jones is the dirtiest quarterback in the league.
Oh, come on.
We just saw him do the gator roll and leg
Right, there
sweep.
you go.
I mean, when did that become lovable? I mean, you got an organization that's known for cheating and a quarterback that's known for dirty plays. I don't know about that. The Chiefs have been humbled. Let's pump the brakes on that. So your premises, I think, were faulty a bit.
No,
but
first of all,
when you were talking about the Rams, being the villain, let me tweak it a bit. I do think that if the Rams don't at least make the Super Bowl, they will be looked at as a failure this season, and there will be some schadenfreude, from the national public, football fans, maybe the media as well. And LaShawn, I want the audience to understand how incredibly difficult the Rams' path to the Super Bowl is going to be if they don't catch Arizona and win this division. Right now, you're like, the Rams, they've been awesome. They only have 2 losses. Yeah, but they're in second in the division. So, if the playoffs started today, first round of the playoffs for the Rams, they're at Dallas. Second round of the playoffs for the Rams, if they win at Dallas, they're at the Cardinals. And the conference championship game, if they were to win that game, they're at one of those 2 teams, again, if the bracket were to hold. If they don't win the division, LaShawn, not only will they be on the road every game of the playoffs, I think they would be Vegas underdogs in every single game listed. So the Rams, we showed the schedule earlier, very difficult schedule. The Cardinals are playing great football, just won a game without Kyler Murray. You've got to look at the Rams and say, they're all in, but is it possible they go one and done in the playoffs? Absolutely. If they're on the road against Tampa, Green Bay, or Dallas in round 1, they will be underdogs in the first round of the playoffs. And if this team trading for Bonds, signing Odell, doing everything they do, no first round picks, now next year no second round pick, if they don't win a playoff game, which is absolutely not only on the board, it's probably right now the likely outcome. People will look at this as, well, what the hell was all that for? So in that regard, I do buy what Wildes is selling a bit.
Well, it seems like you're looking at the worst scenario. I don't say it like that. I think in the NFC, it's a lot of great competition, a lot of good teams. So the same way, while it will be issues for the Rams, it will be the same for the Bucs, for the Arizona Cardinals, for the Dallas Cowboys. Anybody can be beat. I like the chances just because they're well coached. They have a lot of great leaders and veterans, and they all want to win. When everybody wants to win, the chemistry is different. You know, everybody's bought in. Like if Odell had issues in New York or Odell had issues with the Browns, it's different with the Rams because we have a lot of great players just like you, and we all want to buy in. And I'm betting on that team to, you know, gather together with the vets, superstars, and potentially go on the road and get some wins. So it's not over yet. It's still early in the season. You know, it's not over yet. We got a couple more games to lock up that #1 seed.
For sure.
You never know.
Interestingly enough, by the way, Super Bowl odds with OBJ on the Rams did not change. Same. So coming up, it is Kevin Wilde's favorite segment, Upset Alert. Will the prognosticator of all prognosticators put Nick's Chiefs on alert? That's next. First things first. Time now for Upset Alert. That whole thing stresses me out. Not Wild's thing, the Upset Alert with the lights and the loud sounds. The biggest upset of the week may have already happened last night. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens falling to the Miami Dolphins. We'll have more on that coming up in a little bit. But LaShawn, which team should be on Upset Alert this week?
I'm going with the 49ers. I think they upset the Rams.
Ooh.
Yeah, I see that. I think when I watched the game last week, man, Kittle came back and Trent Williams came back, and they are a different team when they have them two guys in the lineup. They were a little rusty last week, and they're a home game this week, so I expect them guys, man, to come out and play sharp. I think with all the attention, man, all the media push with signing Odell and then getting Von Miller a week before that, like all that together, you can get lost, you can get distracted. So I think the 49ers, they pull up the upset. I believe that. It's a divisional game. Anything can happen.
LaShawn, let's stay on LaShawn's game for just a moment. I want to talk to him about it because I find this to be really interesting. I almost went this way as well. Now, it should be noted, the 49ers, now to be fair, last year they didn't play games in their home stadium. They have not won a game in their home stadium since the NFC Championship game. Think about that. They have not won a game in their home stadium since the NFC Championship game a couple years ago. However, the reason I also kind of liked this game is because they were embarrassed last week. Because for the first time in his coaching career, Kyle Shanahan's facing real scrutiny. It's like, hey, buddy, you finished last in this division 3 times. You might finish in it again. You've only been to the playoffs 1 time with this team. Like, how good of an offensive mastermind are you really? I just want to ask you quickly on this. When you're on a team that had expectations, people thought the Niners were going for it this year, and midway through the year, you're mediocre at best. Is there something to, you know, what kitchen sink game, as Wild's buddy Bill Simmons would call it? Like by any means necessary, have to win this game to turn our season around. Is there something to that?
Yeah, I think so, especially right now. You know, so I won't be surprised if in this game they have so many, like, maybe on 3rd and shorts, fourth down, they go for it, or they have something on punt, maybe fake punts. It's like right now we got to throw everything at you because we got to have something to give us that edge, give us that advantage. And they're in a desperate situation right now. You might see the rookie come in there and get some snaps. You never know. So they got to win now, like you said. They've been losing the division since they went to the Super Bowl. So everybody's under pressure, from the head coach to the quarterbacks, everybody.
No, I like that pick a lot. I didn't quite have the guts to go with it because they were so uninspiring last week, but I like that one a lot. I'm going to go Vikings over Chargers. Here's the thing about the Vikings.
Oh, I like this one.
They play nothing but heartbreaking close games. Sometimes their heart gets broken. Sometimes it's the other team. We can go through the schedule. Week 1, that's an overtime loss. Week 2, a 1-point loss on a missed field goal. Week 3 was the one blowout they've had. Week 4 was 11-7, late into the 4th, ended up 14-7. Week 5 against the Lions was a last-second game. Against Carolina was a last-second game. I think went to overtime. We saw how they played against Dallas. And then last week, that was another overtime game. They are better and worse than their record suggests. They're worse in that they do invent ways to lose games. They're better in that they're up 14 in the second half against Baltimore. They were beat. They had Arizona, who's lost once this year, had them flat beat, and then Greg Joseph misses a 37-yarder. So I like the Vikings to bounce back. And on the flip side, the Chargers, since playing the Chiefs really, have not been impressive. They have one dominant win all year. That's against Vegas. They have a 4-point win against Washington, a shootout against Cleveland. We just mentioned for the Chargers the final play of the game win we didn't just mention, but they had a final play of the game win last week against Philly. I've been very unimpressed with the Chargers as of late, so I like Minnesota to bounce back, keep their season borderline alive, Wilds.
Ooh, I like that. Okay, here it is. I'm on a hot streak, Nick. My upset alerts are hot. A lot of pressure on it. I got a lot of pressure on me now. I've got people on social media, like I used to bet with Nick, now I'm going to bet with you. Don't bet with me. I think that will ruin my hot streak if I had pressure. Saints are going to win outright in Tennessee. Titans have won 5 in a row. They're due for like a little bit of a breather game. We've seen a lot of breather games the last week. Like, Ravens, we got a breather. You lose to the Dolphins. Bills, we need a breather. You lose to Jacksonville. Dallas, we need a breather. We've been winning too much. You lose to Denver. That's why I think Titans are going to come up. We need a breather, but bad news. You're not playing a bad team. You're playing a great team with a funky quarterback, but with a great defense. Here's the other thing about Tennessee's win streak. Could have gone the other way pretty easily, couldn't have? Matthew Stafford throwing interceptions. Josh Allen stumbling at the goal line. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs tried to invent ways to give them the ball. 2 fumbles, an interception. They missed a field goal. So that Titans win streak, soft. Built on fragile ice. I think Saints go in there and win outright. Upset alert of the week. Wild stays hot, Jenna.
Hey, America, Wilds does not get these wrong. He's a lock.
Yeah,
Listen to him with these.
Person.
I'm telling you.
Oh, boy.
Okay,
I don't know.
Wilds always goes
Our other big story this morning. Cam Newton back in Carolina. Not sure we all saw that coming. Will Superman return to his MVP form? Next, first things first. The other big story we're discussing this morning, Cam Newton is unemployed no longer. The former MVP headed back to the place he won MVP years ago, the Carolina Panthers. With Sam Darnold injured, they needed a quarterback, Cam needed a home, and here we are. The deal worth up to $10 million as he now returns to the team he led to a Super Bowl appearance way back when. Here's head coach Matt Rule on the decision to sign Cam Newton.
This team wants to win, and this team moving forward wants to win, and they want to win now, and they want to win this year, and they want to win next year, and they want to win, and so this isn't about anything other than winning, and I think that's the only reason why Cam's coming here, because he wants to win. That's why I'm bringing him here, because I want to win. So I don't know if that makes sense, but that's just kind of how I see it. I'm happy that people are excited. Don't get me wrong, but people, I want to someday have a ticker tape parade here in Charlotte, right? So, it hasn't happened yet, and that weighs on my conscience, right? Like I want to bring a Super Bowl to the city, and so every step we make, it's, hey, can this help us get to the playoffs? Hey, can this help us win? Hey, because if we get to the playoffs, you never know what happens, right? You always have a chance. So, I'm not saying we're going to the playoffs. I'm not making any predictions. I'm not talking on hypotheticals, but this is the most disciplined move right now to give us a chance to win. And, PJ has to go help us win this week, and the PJ has to help us win the following weeks. I can't say anything about the future, what's happening or how it'll go down, but that's why we made the decision.
All right, I'm just going to say this. Matt Rule answered that question as if he was not expecting that question. And he's like, I'm going to keep talking until I get to the thing that I think I might want to say. Wow. The Panthers, by the way, posting this picture of Cam with Panthers owner David Tepper with the caption, "Together again." Nick Wright, do you expect things to work? You're a Cam guy. You know and you acknowledge that he hasn't really been himself the last couple of the years, injury or otherwise. You expect things to work out in Cam's return to Carolina?
Well, he is going to be better than Darnold because Darnold was the worst quarterback in football this year. With all due respect to the other terrible quarterbacks, Darnold was the worst. And so all the other quarterbacks went to bed at night saying, at least I'm not playing as bad as Darnold. And so in that regard, it will work out. And it should be noted, while the top of the NFC has 5 awesome teams, after that, it's a whole bunch of, Right now, the 6th seed is New Orleans, who has a great defense, but is currently quarterbacked by Trevor Siemian. And the 7th seed is the 4-4 Atlanta Falcons. The Panthers are 4-5 in the same division as Atlanta. They get to play Atlanta. They play New Orleans. So they absolutely, with that defense, if Cam is any good at all, are alive because 9 wins is going to get you into the playoffs in the NFC. So, yeah, I think it can work out. LaShawn, to me, what's most interesting about this is confirmation that it was a massive mistake by Carolina to get rid of Cam in the first place. Now, was Cam good last year? No. He got cut this year, sure. But what Carolina has done since they got rid of Cam is give Teddy Bridgewater $33 million guaranteed for 1 year of football, and now a huge dead cap hit this year. Trade a 2nd, a 4th, and a 6th for Darnold for terrible football, and a $19 million guaranteed salary next year for Darnold. So their quarterback moves post-Cam have been a disaster. They didn't draft one. They just did this. And so, yeah, they should have never gotten rid of him. I think it'll work out, but I know he'll be better than Darnold.
Nick, that's actually a great point. I didn't know that. Wow. As I watched that press conference, as a head coach, you're supposed to say them things, okay? But let's get to the real facts. Now, we don't know when Cam's going to play, right? He won't play this week. He won't. I'm not sure if he'll play next week. It's a whole new offense. He has to learn a whole new offense. The only thing I can see if it can work, because like you said, that division is tough, but in the NFC, you can make the playoffs with 9 wins. The only thing I can see that can make this thing work, right, if they cater to Cam Newton. It's too late in the game to learn the whole playbook. So now you got to get some more quarterback-driven runs. You have McCaffrey, the option a little bit, the RPOs. He has some explosive wide receivers. DJ Moore outside can really go. And like you said, anybody is better than Darnold. I mean, like, seriously. The thing why I doubt when I watch that press conference is because you should have been did it. This guy's going week after week throwing 3 picks, 2 picks, no touchdowns, right? Barely throwing for 175 yards. And he's passing for like 40 times a game. So it's hard to believe that when you finally do it because he got hurt. You should have been made this adjustment. You should have been made this move. You need a quarterback to win games. A lot of them games, these guys are up in the 4th quarter. These guys are up in the 2nd half. And they slowly lose because Sam Darnold throws the ball away to the other team. So I think Cam Newton can work, right? If they really care to him, give him plays that's easy for him, RPOs to the running backs, safe throws, and let him use his feet. Because if not, they're in trouble. So I think that Cam is a lot better option than Sam Darnold by a long shot.
Yeah, so I do too. First of all, like emotionally, I'm thrilled for Cam. I'm happy that he's back in Carolina. It feels like a natural fit for him. It's like a nice bookends to his career. Hopefully he can stay there, succeed, and win that starting job. I don't think Sam Darnold's the guy. It'd be great if Cam finished out this year and earned the job next year too and see what Carolina could do. There's also a beautiful poetry, Nick, to it that Bill Belichick actually gave Cam Newton his starting job back by destroying the Panthers last week. And granted, Darnold was hurt, but we were calling for Darnold to be pulled from that game after the 2nd interception. I think it was like, hey, get that guy out of here. So now Belichick's like, you're welcome, Cam. It all works out. I pull him out. I am worried about one thing. And LaShawn, you mentioned it, like, explosive plays. From watching all of Cam last year, I don't know if those explosive plays are on the board. I hope they are. But if we can look at, since he was injured, him throwing the ball 15-plus yards down the field just hasn't happened. It just eye test-wise, LaShawn, the ball looks heavy at times. And the Patriots and Josh McDaniels rarely, if ever, had an explosive play. Now, a lot of the blame was placed on, it's the weapons. I don't know if it was necessarily the weapons. Certainly, the Patriots got better weapons. It's not like we had like a Pro Bowl team full of wide receivers last year. But his lack of ability to throw the ball down the field, that's what I would be looking for if I was a defensive coordinator playing the Panthers. I was like, you know what? We're going to take away everything short. Throw one over our heads. Let's see it. But until we see it, we're not going to respect it. So I think they have to figure out a way to at least scare the other team and have Cam try to air something out to put a little fear in people's minds.
Yeah, I can believe that. Yeah, you're right. I just think that when that happens, right, when you can't throw the ball efficiently down the field, you have to do other things. And I talked about the RPO game, right? A lot of times when I was with the Chiefs and everybody expects us to go deep all the time, we did so many RPOs where you have speedy guys like Carolina has, throw the ball for 6 yards, 7 yards, right? It potentially can go for 25, 30 yards. So with Cam Newton, you got to use his ability with his feet. You got to. It's there. He's not. We all know. There's no secret, right? He hasn't played great. He hasn't played well, but he's solid enough, right, where he's safe with the ball and you use his feet, small passes, right, that get more yards. And I think that if you do that with Cam Newton, you have a chance. You don't have to throw deep all the time. You know, use the immediate passes and be all right.
And I understand Matt Rule said, I don't know when Cam's going to play. I do. After this week. You didn't pay him $4.5 million guaranteed dollars to not play. I bet they'd love to get him on the field this week. By the way, he's played with McCaffrey. He's played with DJ Moore. I don't think they can get him on the field this week. But next week's Washington. The week after's Miami. Then you have a bye. Now the Panthers' schedule's tough after the bye. But again, you're not going to need to be 11-6 to get the final playoff spot in the NFC. But I just want to circle back to how botched the quarterback situation in Carolina has been that they're at this point. So they cut Cam, and if you remember, he was upset they cut him. But they wanted to move forward. They had a new coach. They're moving forward. Fine. That year in the draft, they're drafting 7th. They got a little unlucky. Justin Herbert went 6th. Maybe they would have taken Justin Herbert, but after that, the next quarterback taken is Jordan Love. So it's like, okay, we're not getting our quarterback there. They signed Teddy. It doesn't work out. What they did this offseason, they had the option. They had the 8th pick of the draft. They knew unequivocally there's going to be some quarterbacks there. Justin Fields, who just looked awesome this past week, was going to be there. And Mac Jones was there. And if Mac Jones wasn't there, Trey Lance would have been. Instead of going that route, they draft J.C. Horn, who I think can be really good. He had suffered a terrible injury early. We'll see. But instead of spending the 8th pick on the draft, they spent a 2nd-round pick, a 4th-round pick, a 6th-round pick on Sam Darnold. And the moment they traded for him, they picked up, again, his fully guaranteed $19 million for next year. Next year, the 15th biggest quarterback cap hit in the NFL is Sam Darnold's for the Carolina Panthers. 15th biggest. It's a bigger cap hit than Josh Allen or Tom Brady next season. That guy for your team when you could have drafted a rookie. And instead, you're praying Cam has something left. It's a disaster for Carolina the way they've handled the quarterback situation since cutting Cam Newton.
The only thing I will say about that move, right, is that he tricked everybody, right? He tricked me, okay? The Jets knew what they were doing. He tricked the Panthers. In the first 3 games, right, I said, wow, this is a great move. They actually have Sam Darnold with a good team, with a great running back, with some weapons outside. And it looked good. The minute McCaffrey got hurt against the Texans, we've seen the nightmare happen, right? And that's when everything crumbled. Then we started seeing him throw the ball way more. Now you can't rely on the mismatch with McCaffrey in the backfield. You know, now where McCaffrey has so much attention on him that you can focus on the guys deep. Once that changed, his whole game changed. Now comes the picks, seeing the ghost, throwing to the opposite team over and over again. So I will say he fooled me, and he fooled, obviously, the Panthers. And I think that if McCaffrey would have been there early and continued to play, it might not have been so bad like we're seeing now. Because he was hot for the first 3 weeks. He was hot.
He was. And he was running the ball well. That's true.
Set that aside. Head to the NBA. Knicks got some NBA medals to hand out. Paul George, 27 points. Clippers beating the Heat for their 6th straight win. Pretty good. Not good enough for a medal, though. Nick, who was?
America, this isn't a great tease. I'm just letting you know this is the saddest medal stand we've ever had. There were only 3 games in the NBA last night. I looked at it and I said, oh my God, this is like the medal stand of power walking in the 2012 Olympics. Look it up, America. All right, bronze medal. I guess we're going to give it to Malcolm. It was good.
Hey,
it was fine.
come on.
30 and 9.
It's his moment.
Nice win over the Jazz. The most interesting thing was Rudy Gobert breathing his hot breath on Miles Turner. Silver medal, Tyrese Maxey. His second podium appearance this week.
Yeah.
Look at Tyrese Maxey. 32, 4, and 5, but in a loss. And then the only redeeming quality of the medal stand. Old FVV, Wichita State product, Fred VanVleet. Did he have a good game? Yes. Was it a gold medal winning game? Maybe. Is this a gold medal winning celebration? Show me the Sam Cassell, Fred VanVleet. Oh yeah, Cleet Blakeman just threw 3 taunting flags on this. I didn't. I loved it. Bring back the Sam Cassell celebration. Give me this angle of it. Show it to me, Fred VanVleet. That's right. Good job, young man. This podium also doubles as, we can show the podium, Jenna. These are all point guards that resident Sixer fan Dustin Waite would rather have than Ben Simmons. He's fine with Maxey, would love Brogdon, and would trade him for Fred VanVleet. So that's also the podium. There it is, Jenna, your podium last night in the NBA.
For the record, not a fan of the Sam Cassell celebration. Just wanted to get that out there. Kevin Wildes, who just missed the cut.
Look at Seth Curry.
Okay,
1,
Seth.
2, little cut, and a
Basketball.
wholesome celebration. Just like a nice point, a wholesome celebration from Seth Curry. Well, job well done. Just missed the cut.
Gosh, it seems like we're anti-Sam Cassell celebration here. I don't love that. Don't love it.
Coming up, not a good night for Lamar and the Ravens. Time to hit the panic button in Baltimore. That's next. First things first.
Too early in the morning.
Hey, tomorrow, Big 12 contenders squaring off in the big noon Saturday game of the week. 8th-ranked Oklahoma facing off with number 13 Baylor. It all starts with the Big Noon kickoff crew live from Waco, 10 a.m. Eastern. All part of the Big Noon Saturday on Fox and the Fox Sports app. All right, time now for stories to start your morning, sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve. Back here with Michael Vick. Last night, not a good night for the Baltimore Ravens. Their offense couldn't do anything against the Dolphins. Lamar was sacked 4 times, picked off 1 time. John Harbaugh quick to point out, we got to be a lot better. Ravens lose a Thursday night shocker after the game. Lamar Jackson on what went wrong.
We weren't scoring no points. We started putting our defense out there. They played a great game. Like, you know, Dolphins had their little play. They had their great players on offense, but I feel like our defense played lights out, man. We just wasn't getting it done on offense. So that's why I was mad. If you was on offense, you would be mad too, like, you know. But played a great game, man.
Mike, you were part of the coverage for this one on Fox. You watched it closely. Was last night a real cause for concern for Lamar and the Ravens?
Yeah, it's a cause for concern because I look at the league and what defensive coordinators are going to look at when they watch the Baltimore Ravens. It's a copycat league. Other teams are going to come in and they're going to try to do the same thing that Brian Flores did to whatever capacity they can. I think Brian Flores is a great defensive coordinator, defensive mind, so he schemed up a scheme to stop Lamar and to not allow him to penetrate, you know, the defense and not allow him to, you know, find cracks and creases and run the football, you know, which is what he do very well. He took away the passing game. He took away a lot. And I've had games like that where you come in and you get caught off guard, and I can certainly tell that they didn't prepare for the looks that they seen yesterday. It was a lot of zero blitz. They dropped linemen, they zone blitz. And that's the most any team ever came after the Baltimore Ravens. So while every team would be watching that and trying to duplicate that, I don't know if they have the personnel to do it or really have the scheme or the mindset to do it. But, you know, in terms of the Baltimore Ravens having to fix that problem, it's something that they're going to have to look into extensively to make sure they don't run into that again, because they will see it, whether it's now or down the road in the playoffs. They're going to see those type of blitzes, zone blitzes, and teams coming after him trying to create this confusion. And it's going to happen again, I promise you.
And listen, I know nobody outside of South Florida other than the amazing Joy Taylor cares about the Dolphins angle of this. But finally, for the first time, the Dolphins looked like the Dolphins I thought they would be at the beginning of the year. Like, that's the defense from last year. That's the maniac blitzes. That's the Brian Flores defense I thought they were going to have all season. I don't know what took them so long to have a game like this where you really saw what that defense could be. But on the Ravens side, here's the thing, Vic, and I want to throw it back to you. We're in a weird spot in football coverage where people act as if great quarterbacks don't have, forget bad games, don't have bad stretches. I don't remember us doing this to Peyton Manning. People like, I mean, look up, just go to Peyton Manning's Football Reference. And, you know, about once every 3 years, he would have a month where it's like, oh my God, what's going on? And then he'd get out of it. So like, you know, Josh Allen, who a lot of people think is a great quarterback, has had a rough month. Patrick Mahomes, who is a great quarterback, has had a rough month. Lamar is having a rough month. And that's the question is, how long will it take him to get out of it? Because if you look at Lamar's last 4 games, they dominated the Chargers, but he did not play well in that game. They dominated despite how he played. Then they got beat handily by the Bengals. He didn't play well in that game. Last week, I thought, oh, he's getting out of it with the game against the Vikings because he played awesome. But then in overtime, he throws a pick that could have, and one could argue, should have lost them the game. An overtime interception, but the Vikings, of course, go 3 and out and they win anyway. And then last night, he was terrible. So when you're going through one of these ruts, what do you turn into the skid or out of the skid? Meaning, do you try to change some things up, or do you just say, I'm going to keep the same process here? Because Lamar, for the Ravens to be who they're supposed to be, Lamar's can't be good. He's got to be great. And it's been about a month since we've seen him consistently be great.
Well, last night was the first time we've seen a team really bottle Lamar up and not let him outside of the pocket. I think he might have had 35 yards rushing. That's unprecedented of Lamar and the Ravens offense. They couldn't move the ball at all costs. And, you know, this is a situation where Lamar's going to have to go back and watch a lot of film on what's transpired over the last couple of weeks, because every week, each team, like I just said, are going to watch what the opposition did versus the Ravens, and they're going to try to come out and do the same thing. And you keep running into the same looks and same problems, and in the National Football League, they go after your weaknesses. And no offense is perfect, so they're going to find some area on the offense that they can exploit. Here's how we can get to Lamar. Here's how we can keep him contained. Here's how we can keep Hollywood Brown from catching the 10-yard in cut, in which he killed every team on that type of concept, that type of route. So, you know, it's all about making adjustments. And this time of the year, every quarter of the year, you got to make adjustments and change the game plan.
Yeah, so, Mike, I want to go up to 10,000 feet and talk about the season in general, because in this last week, we saw 3 great teams have befuddling losses. The Cowboys had a befuddling loss to the Broncos. The Josh Allen, the high-powered Bills offense, went down to Jacksonville and did absolutely nothing. And the Ravens last night against the Dolphins. Now, we always talk about halftime adjustments. Are there half-year adjustments, half-season adjustments when you're playing? When you're like, the first half of the season we played this way, and we need to either switch it up to be ahead of the curve, or our defensive coordinators, or on the other side, figuring teams out, and we're actually going to see a totally different second half of the NFL season.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, one thing you can't do, what you run in the first quarter of the season, you can't run in the second quarter. What you run in the second quarter, you can't do it in the third. Your offense has to continuously evolve. And the one thing I can say about Andy Reid, we always had new concepts. We always had new plays. We was always doing different things. That's why the offense stayed high power. And it was always efficient and effective. If you're not doing that, if you're trying to do the same things, then, you know, you just don't find success. And the one thing for the Baltimore Ravens right now, They can't run the football. Running the football is the equalizer. It opens up everything. We didn't even see Mark Andrews catch passes last night because the Dolphins took everything away. Take nothing away from the Miami Dolphins. It was a great scheme. The Baltimore Ravens got to fix the issues.
So, Nick, who then becomes the clear-cut favorites in the AFC?
Well, so that's what's so interesting. Right now, I think it's pretty undeniable. The 5 most reliable teams in the NFL are all in one conference, the NFC. In no particular order, Cardinals, Rams, Bucks, Packers, Cowboys. You trust those 5? Vic, tell me if you disagree. I trust those 5 more than I trust any AFC team right now. And then after that, you have this kind of high upper middle class of the AFC that starts at the top with the Bills and the Titans and then goes down to the bottom of that is the Patriots, and it's 10 teams. It's like, who do you think is going to get right? Right now, I think that one would say the Titans, but they lost Derrick Henry. The Bills are playing the worst football they've played in 2 full seasons, so it's hard to say them. It would have been the Ravens after they got another, escaped with the win the other night or last weekend against the Vikings, but then it looked so bad yesterday. So, Wilds, here's what I'll say.
Oh, here we go.
If there was ever a time to put some real separation between the best in the conference and the 2-time defending conference champions, it was these first 2 months. And none of these teams did it. None of these teams lapped them. None of these teams got looking good. None of these teams are peaking. And I'll tell you this much. What if the Chiefs let's just say they look great this weekend. Let's say the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. I know you think it's an impossibility because the most recent thing that happened is the only thing that happened. What they've done over the last few years, or hell, all the way back in early October, might as well not have happened. But let's just say the Chiefs look great on Sunday Night Football against the Raiders. Who do you think is going to be the most feared team in the AFC? If the Chiefs look great on Sunday night, who do you think becomes the AFC favorite? I'm curious.
Okay. You want to put me in a vice, a logical vice, and turn it like you're Robert De Niro in a casino? I will say the words.
Joe Pesci.
I do
Pesci
think it's
did
the
it
Chiefs.
Casino.
I do. Oh, it's Pesci did
Got
it.
your
You're
head
right,
in a
you're
vice.
Right. Yeah, he kept it. He kept his hands clean in casino. Okay, I do think it's the Chiefs. At the same time,
thanks,
like.
buddy.
If Mike, let's just hear me out. It's a compliment sandwich. There's going to be an insult in the middle. Here's the thing, Mike. If it was also announced that like Mike Tyson was going to fight Tyson Fury, I'd be like, woo! Mike Tyson, he still might have something there. I am a victim of relying a lot on memories. Call me crazy, but after seeing Patrick Mahomes throw the ball to the other team for 5 consecutive weeks, maybe 7 consecutive weeks, and then not have an interception, but throw over 166 yards, and have Nick come on the show Monday and say, but he had one great play, it doesn't infuse me with confidence. But if we're talking about memories, yes, I do have a memory of the Chiefs being a team that is very good, but Mike, they don't terrify me anymore.
You know, it's about showing and proving, and the Chiefs going to have to show and prove like everybody else. And I do agree with what Nick said. In the NFC, there are no teams with a lot of blemishes. I mean, you look at the Arizona Cardinals and the Green Bay Packers and the Rams, it's consistency. You don't see the big drop-offs like you see with the teams in the AFC. But I'll say this, I still believe in the Ravens. As bizarre as it may sound right now, I think they can fix their issues. I know Lamar's competent enough. I know Greg Roman is competent enough. And I even seen T. Martin on the sideline. He's got to be some type of passing game coordinator or something. They got to fix it. I believe in the Ravens. I do think they gave up a lot of big plays on defense last night and over the last couple weeks. But they can patch this up.
Yep. Okay. And listen, and I want to believe in the Ravens too. I wonder if the defensive injuries, Marcus Peters and others, is a little too much for them if Lamar isn't playing like a true MVP as he was at various points last year, certainly the year before, and early this year. But what I will finish on this. The Chiefs played as poorly as they've played in 4 years for the first half of the season. And the AFC, aside from the Titans, you know how they took advantage of it? By having the exact same record or being one game better than them. There's no separation. There is no big gap to make up. We're going to be here Monday morning, Jenna, and the Chiefs are going to be a game out of first place, not in the division, but in the whole damn conference. Folks are going to say, oh, my God, how'd we let this happen? Just letting you know. Could be coming, Jenna.
Wide
Could
open
be coming.
conference. Have a great weekend. Undisputed right now.